Alaikum assalam.
Ustaz, my question is with respect to banks and the interest they do add. For example, let's say like OPay, they add a little interest of, let's say, 1.4 naira. How do you dispose this particular little amount of money? You know?
The interest that are accrued into our savings accounts and the fixed deposit accounts, how do you dispose them? It is important that if you operate an account, please do not, some persons feel like it's not much. I didn't call for it. Someone has his money in a bank account. And over time, interests have built in the accounts. All the person does, keeps the money, comes, withdraw, keeps the money, comes, withdraw. He was just saving. He didn't really take cognizance of how much he has saved. And then it's time to withdraw, and he's told, how much is in my account? You are told you withdraw. The issue of interest is a very serious matter. A very serious matter. The bank charges for the services they offer to you. Sometimes some of us say that they take my money unfairly, unduly, in the name of interest, in the name of deduction. So even the interest self, I am rightfully the owner. You are not. Make sure nothing of interest mixes up with your property. Did you see when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to us concerning the wealth of the orphans? He said, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَمْوَالِكُمْ. Don't you eat their wealth along with your wealth. That's not even interest. That's the word of someone you're taking care of, you're helping to grow. And this one is a word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed. Take note of interest in your accounts. And then, what then do you do to this interest? Remove the interest completely. Do not tell yourself that they took deductions, SMS, this one. It doesn't concern you. It doesn't concern me. They told you what they took the deduction for. If it's undue, then tell them you're not banking with them again. According to the suggestion of Shaykh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, take this money and take it to somewhere, to someone needy, to any of the saints of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not see it as your charity. It's not your charity. You're only removing money that does not belong to you and returning it to where it belongs. Upon the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Al-malu mali wal jannatu jannati. Every wealth is my own and paradise is mine. So use the wealth that is mine to look for the paradise that is mine. So the part that concerns this is the last statement, all wealth belongs to me. So when the wealth that has been given to you as interest, and it is difficult to return it back because the process of returning it back may not work. Sometimes the account officer may say, okay, you want us to remove it? Yes. And he simply removes it and put in his own, and he say, thank you very much. So some others say that when we leave this money for them, these unbelievers, the system they operate, the World Bank, the IMF, the New World Order of the United States of America, sometimes they again gather this money and they use it for one or two purposes that is anti-Islam. And this is why it is encouraged that Muslims should start creating, alternative to all this. Muslims should start patronizing themselves. Muslims should start running banks that are interest-free. But the problem we do have in all of these things is the one who is saying is running an interest-free bank is actually not running an interest-free bank. I do not mean 100%, some of them. All he's just doing is buying into Muslim sentiments. He's telling you, I have interest-free bank. The closest of what you can get to the Sharia is what I operate. And then he also does the normal thing. Sometimes we find Muslims who say we do cooperative, Islamic cooperative, and when they tell you what they do, The only name there is that the cooperative, maybe it's reading Musa House of Cooperation. Maybe the Musa is the only thing that is Islamic there. So we must have to make sure it follows Islamic tenets, and then we patronize what we have to making sure that we have economic alternatives to all of these things. Take this money and return it back to Allah, return it back to the mosques, return it, give it to someone who is needy. And you are not telling the person, take, this one is interest money. You're returning it back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah knows how to fix it where it belongs. You do your normal charity, you do your normal zakah, but do not leave that money there, or do not touch that money. Some persons will feel like, no, I don't want to touch it, I'll just leave it there. Now the fear is that you leave it there and this interest has built up to 500,000 naira, and you die. And your children or your brothers, whomever is inheriting from you, find in your account that there is 3.5 million naira. Not knowing that the 500,000 naira on top is not yours. And they inherit it as part of your wealth. So you have consumed interest. Or sometimes they may not be too God-fearing. You wrote in your book that this money is not mine, so take whatever belongs to me and leave the remaining one for the bank. And then your son went to get a fatwa from somewhere, and the person says, no, the interest is forbidden for him and it's not forbidden for you, or stuff, things like that. So anytime you see an alert of interest, please take that money and go and drop it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that your account will always be clean.